I think you are a bunch of crooks. That's what I think. And I think that you just screwed over us royally. You want to shove it right up our behind.
If you were talking to somebody else, like another person who was kind of in a similar situation, with a property, and they were looking to sell their property, would you recommend us?
Yeah, I'd recommend you, or I'm satisfied.
And that is how you take a seller from ticked off to testimonial. Thank you for calling Lazarus Property Group. This is Chris. Before I try to call you here, I did just get off the phone with title. They did get the full title report back. Basically, what they confirmed is that you are the only one on title, and the process that you guys had went through at some point with the kids, what they refer to as a ladybird deed. So essentially what that does is while you are still alive and breathing, title is in your name, and then at the time of your passing, then title would transfer on to your children. So as I said before, I was confident that, you guys weren't just lying to me that you did something, you know what I mean? But the process that you guys went through, you are still the person on title. And so we are still, under contract to move forward. We do want to continue moving forward. I talked to the team, and, we're going to do something that we never, ever do. Because when we come up to a number, we're usually underwritten at, where we need to be. But I talked to the team, I ran everything by them, re-looked at everything. And so we still want to move forward. We can close in, the next 40, 45 days and get this thing across the finish line for you, all cash, no commissions. We take care of all closing costs and everything. And, we're willing to bring that number up to $95,000 to move forward. I understand you're frustrated.
Oh, yeah. I think you are a bunch of crooks. That's what I think.
The reality is, right, like we can look at it a whole host of different ways. If the roles were reversed, you'd probably be looking at this from a different angle.
I called you right afterwards. I thought you were giving us a temporary quote on the thing, and we never had to deal with this mess before. I'm 82, almost 83 years old, and I think that you just screwed over us royally. And you can say whatever you want to say. And there's people living in that house. They've been there for over 15 years. I'll leave it to you to get them out. I'm not going to mess with them.
We're not trying to take advantage of anybody. We have to do our underwriting. You can feel that way.
You weren't trying to screw us. You would have just said okay and dropped the contract and let it go at that. But you don't want to do that. You want to shove it right up our behind.
The reality is you and Brad were on a call. You guys all discussed it. You guys said you wanted $100,000. We made an offer at a number that you guys were not satisfied.
We wanted 115, and then 5 minutes later we said no. So he said, well, how about 90? And we didn't even know what the property was worth. We said, well, that sounds all right. So I thought we were getting a temporary deal. Under false pretenses, you've taken us to the cleaner.
So when you guys negotiated to that 90 number and he sent you over the contract, and then on the recorded phone call reviewed the contract line by line with you, you felt that was a temporary, not real offer?
Yes, exactly right.
Interesting. Okay. But then you guys signed that contract that you're saying you believed was a temporary, not real offer.
I don't know how you got her initials on my phone and her signature on my phone. Well, that's what came up.
Oh, okay. Got it. So, because you guys told us who was on title. And so when you tell us who's on title, we send the email to the email that you guys shared with us, right? And so when it sends to that and it says who the person's supposed to be signing is, and then you click the button, it gives you the ability to sign in the person's name that you requested it under. So are you saying that did not sign that?
No, she signed it, but we don't. The numbers come up and I punched it in for her. She was sitting right here beside me, but we didn't realize that it was a solid contract. I guess we're screwed no matter what we do.
Look, we're not trying to screw anybody, nobody's getting rich off of this property. Like reality is we're going to put
$50,000 on that property.
I don't think that's accurate. We're going to put a bunch of money in.
I'm a residential contractor for 30 years, and I flipped houses for 25 of them. And I know how much it's going to take to get that house up to what you'll get for it.
Well, so if that's the case, right, because you're saying you guys didn't understand the value and everything. I mean, in one sentence, like I don't want to argue with you, but in one sentence, you're saying we just didn't understand the value. But then in the next sentence, you're saying, well, I've been this residential contractor, I've flipped homes and everything, and essentially saying like, you're an expert, right? And you know what we're going to make on it. How can both of those things be the same? You know, like, I'm not trying to argue with you, but like, if you're positioning it as like, well, we didn't understand the value, but then you're going to say like, well, I've done all that, you know, I have all this experience, do all these things.
We didn't
right?
find it out until the weekend after we went through this contract. My daughter went on, found out the high and low end of the value, and then I subtracted out $30,000 for your profit, including the closing and how much it would take to do the repairs, which is $25,000, and it still left $118,000. You offered me $84,000, and then when I said no, you jumped up to $90,000. We thought it was a good deal, but anyway.
Well, look, you know, again, I mean, we want to work with you, you know, like I went to bat with the team and, you know, I told them what's going on. And again, nobody's getting rich off of this. I mean, we've got contractors to pay. We've got like everybody on the team. We got to keep the lights on. There's a lot of people involved in the process, you know, and I was able to get them to come up to $95,000 to move forward, to get you guys another $5,000 in your pocket. I understand the situation. And, you know, the reality is, you know, when you guys were talking to Brad, and if you felt like unsure about that number at the time, you know, like there was, you know, it's not like anybody was physically there, like, you know, holding you guys up to move forward. It was like, hey, here it is. And, you know, you guys decided at the time you wanted to move forward.
But you're holding us now.
That's what contracts are for, right? Like if it was up to me, like my dad raised me the old school way of doing business, which is off somebody's word and their handshake, right? You know, and unfortunately, like, you know, as well as I do that, you know, in today's day and age, like everybody's so litigious that if we just went to, you know, did business off of word and handshake, we wouldn't be in business very long.
You do business with the other customers like you're doing business with us, you wouldn't be in business long either.
We've been in business since 2008, 2009. And, you know, we've worked with a lot of sellers, helped a lot of sellers in a lot of different situations. I mean, we don't just buy properties cash. I mean, we've helped save 3 people this week from getting foreclosed on, you know, because of all the stuff with COVID and not being able to cover their payments and everything. And so, you know, we try to run business right. We try to do the right thing. I mean, the reality is, like, based on the contract and everything, like, we don't even have to come up on the price.
No, you can screw us just like you're doing now.
If we were just trying to screw somebody, like, we would literally just say, hey, you know what, the contract is what it is, and we're just going to, you know, proceed forward. But, you know, like.
But I told you it wasn't a valid contract because her kids didn't sign it, and they said they weren't going to sign it.
As I told you, you know, the reason we paid for the title report was because we want to do good business and we want to do the right thing. And if the kids were on title, and that would make it not a binding contract, and we would part ways. You know, like I literally told you that from the first conversation, like, hey, I have no problem. We work with this title company a lot. You know, it takes not much for us to go run a title report and confirm that. And if it is like what you guys said, then, you know, we're happy to go ahead and part ways, you know, because it's not a valid contract. But, you know, we have put time, energy, and effort into this. And, you know, we do, you know, the whole reason we entered into contract.
That's what I'm saying. I talked to them on Friday and Monday when the lady called. I told her we wanted out of the contract. You could have canceled it then, but you didn't. You just kept pushing. We're going to do a title. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Because we want to stick it to you. And I'm tired of talking to you. Look, I'm tired of talking to you. You ain't got nothing more to tell.
That's fine. I just want to clarify real quick. So are we, like, do you guys want to accept the increase in the offer and move forward, or do you guys want to just move forward the way it is? I mean, I want to get you guys taken care of. If I can get you that extra $5,000, I will, and we'll move forward at that, you know, but I need to get that confirmation from you guys that you guys, you know, are good to move forward with that, and we can close in the next 45 days.
We'll talk about it, and I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay. Hey, it's Chris Deal. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing all right, I guess.
Sound like you guys are good to go to move forward with the extra $5,000 that we were able to get you. So just wanted to touch gloves with you. I have an addendum drafted up that I'm going to send over to you. Now, did want to just clarify the tenant situation. Sean mentioned something about the tenant situation, so I just wanted to get clarity on that and just make sure we're all on the same page. He said something about you gave notice, but they might need a little bit more time.
We gave them notice till the 15th of March.
Okay, got it. March.
Your client wanted saying they need more time. I don't know if they will or not, but she's been out for a week and a half sick with the flu, so she hasn't even been able to work. Of course, he can't work. He's put in for disability. He had part of the leg taken off last year.
Oh, got it. Is that her son or is that her spouse?
No, that's her husband.
Got it. Okay. And the husband had part of his leg removed last year?
Yes.
Oh, geez. What was that? Do you know what that was from?
He got bit by something. It was some kind of thing that kept eating away. And they treated it for almost a year. He's in a hospital for a year.
Oh, man.
They finally had to take, I guess, about halfway between his kneecap and his ankle. They had to take his leg off to stop it.
That's really sad.
We like them. They've been there Tenants for 14 years. But he's got a really bad attitude. If things don't, she's one of these that it's my way or the highway. She's done nothing but bitch and complain since we told her we had to sell the house. She's filed for disability a year ago, October, and it's still yanking around, so she's got an attorney now. But it may be another 6 months before she gets anything. We're paying $1,500 a month for her mortgage payment, give her money to pay her bills to live on, and we've run out of money.
So what we can do, in this situation, obviously, like you guys got enough stress as it is dealing with everything you guys are dealing with. So typically in this type of situation, the sellers just share the tenant's contact info with us. And then we just hop on a call with them. We're not the type to just come in like strong arm somebody out or anything like that.
In order for you to have a representative walk through it or take pictures, you're going to have to call and make an appointment with them.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll send over the amendment and everything and then just kind of review that with you just in case you guys have any questions. And then we'll get everything all squared away. We can work with the tenants and, we do that on a regular basis. So, it's fairly straightforward for us, but, it's no point in putting all that pressure on you guys to have to go through all that. Did you give them like a formal written notice to vacate or?
Told them in person.
I'll double check. What we might want to do is have some sort of formal notice. That way there is some sort of paper trail showing that like they were given a formal notice to vacate. But let me just double check with the team. Every state's different. We work in Florida and a number of different states. So I just want to make sure that we're...
The only reason I haven't got an eviction notice is because I have to pay $500 for an eviction attorney. And they'll sign the paper and they only give them 30 days.
Okay.
If they don't pay the rent on the 5th of the month, then the eviction notice cuts it down to 5 days for them to go out. And I didn't want to put that pressure on them either.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's at the point, like usually what happens is, this happens all the time. Anytime you're telling a tenant that's been there long term that, hey, they have to be out, even if you're giving them 60, 90 days, they're always frustrated. I've never had a situation where a long-term tenant was not upset about it. So that's usually the initial reaction. And then after some conversation and discussion, and usually they start to calm down. And then what we do is we try to just come alongside them and offer any support and any help that we can provide in the situation. Sometimes we can, get involved and help in a whole host of different ways. And then if we need to do some sort of formal notice, I think the easiest thing would just be like a drafted, just piece of paper, just saying it, and then just sent certified mail, which we could do on your behalf. And then that way they have to sign saying that they received that. So we'll have a receipt showing that they received, the notice to vacate. And then that way we'll at least have our bases covered there. So if they did try to, really resist the process at all, then, there's at least that formal notification in place. You know what I mean?
Yep. Okay.
But we'll get it taken care of. Yeah, no worries.
Will the attorneys be getting a hold of us for whatever information they need?
Yeah, so the attorneys will be reaching out to you to walk you through the process for closing. We'll be in touch with the tenants first. And then I think what we're going to do is just draft a document on your behalf that will send certified mail so that the tenants sign for that, stating that they received notice to vacate.
Once they vacate, we should be able to close within a week.
That's correct. Yeah, within a week is typical of the time that they vacate. And then I know our original agreement was to close after it's vacated. I'm going to check with the team. We normally only close on properties when they're vacated, but let me see, because I know you guys are in kind of a rush to get the funds and everything. So let me see if there's anything that we can do to expedite the closing prior to the tenants vacating. If we can, we certainly will. I just can't make any promises on that, okay?
I appreciate it. Thank you much.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir.
This is Chris. I was reaching out. I'm actually with the team that is purchasing the property at Bunnell Drive.
Okay.
You guys are staying in, right? Yeah. How's it going?
All right, and so?
Doing good. How about you?
Oh, not bad, thank you.
Just wanted to reach out, just to introduce myself. I'm one of the team members here, good point of contact for you guys, just to kind of help with the transition and everything. So I know and had mentioned that they were selling the property, and just wanted to, again, just be a point of contact. So if there's anything along the way that you guys need, or questions that you guys have or anything like that, just want to just kind of put a voice to the phone number and everything, so you guys have somebody.
So y'all buying the house?
We are buying the house. Yep.
You're gonna be in for a big surprise.
Really? Why? What's that?
We've been complaining. I've been in this house for 15 years, and they have not once done any upgrades to this house. Not one smack of paint. Nothing in 15 years. The roof, the AC, the toilet, none of it works. The toilet has been the drain feels so screwed up outside right now that you can't even flush the toilet.
Oh, geez.
And this has been for 6 years now. We've been complaining to them about this kind of stuff. It's got two different roofs on, put out at 2 different times. Since this is why she had to sell the house, because back in October, she had asked us if we knew anybody who can look at the house that could inspect it for her insurance company.
Yeah.
So we couldn't find anybody. So she found somebody to come over and do the inspection on the house. The insurance company denied the roof, said that the roof is garbage. Still leaks to this day. Oh yeah. It's just. I'm telling you, you ought to see the storage containers out back. The whole yard, man, is unsafe. We had a cat out back, a stray cat, for example, and this cat got. This is their stuff that's out there. This is their stuff that's been out there for 15 plus years. Oh, and this cat had got its leg trapped into the wedge of the door and lost its leg out back.
Oh man, that's sad.
There's just, you'll see when you get here.
Yeah.
You'll see. It's.
Wow.
I just had my guy come do the AC, because, like I said, we've been complaining because the AC won't keep up in the winter and in the summer. And during the winter months, it has this cold cycle to where it blows cold, like freezing cold in the house before it even blows warm. So my guy, he's 60 years old. He's been doing it for 40 years. He's about to retire doing it. And he had come over just not long ago. Looked at the air handler, looked at the outside air AC units, got to be replaced. He told her $6,000 was the best that he can do to replace in an outside unit. And she didn't want to do it.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you guys are going to be super excited to move on to something else then, huh?
We've been wanting to for the longest time, but for we've been here for so long. My wife's family's just on the other side of the block. She lived there 44 years,
Yeah.
And so we were trying to stay close. So, it was always a thing. And then I lost my leg at the beginning of the year.
Oh, geez.
And then all that had come about. So
what happened? What made you lose your leg?
Well, I was on a walk with my wife, and I was a smoker at one time, caught a DVT in the right leg, and got bit by a spider in the left leg, which triggered 2 autoimmune deficiencies I didn't know I had, which emphasized the bite and caused me to have all the surgeries, and not just save the left leg. But yeah, it's been a chore.
That's crazy. I one of my good friends is actually in the hospital, literally right now as we speak, because he got a spider bite on his right knee, and that thing's swelling up, pussing out, and it's so gnarly. But
it's turned all black and all that kind of stuff. So it was a recluse bite. But yeah,
a recluse.
Yeah, you guys will be in for a big surprise when you come here. I don't know what y'all are purchasing the house for, but you see.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, well, I appreciate you, giving the feedback and everything.
Not to mention that the whole entire fencing system on the house has to be replaced too.
Got it. All the fencing needs to be replaced. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, we kind of figured that there was going to be a bit of work needed, just based on the conversation with them. But, it's always good to hear, from a neutral third party as to, what the condition is. One of the things I did want to talk to you about is just possibly scheduling a time to get one of my guys out there just to snap some photos of the property so we can, just start on our end what we need to do. What does that look like, just getting somebody in there to do that?
The first and the second will be the best days.
Okay.
Because that's when we're going to start to move. So my wife and them will be here, but people will be in and out the house all day.
Okay.
So somebody will be here.
Were you guys planning on going up until that point, or were you guys trying to get out sooner? Like, what was your plans?
Well, I'm not going to discuss that with you right this minute.
Okay.
We're in the midst of trying to get my family into a safe place now, so
I gotcha.
we're not going to be this type of, we don't roll like that, man.
No, same here. I mean, we're pretty reasonable. I mean, we're doing a lot, we work with a lot of properties, and, we're always working with sellers and tenants and stuff. And so we just want to try to do whatever we can to make it a seamless, easy transition. We know, I personally know, how difficult moving is just in general, whether it's your own choice or whether, it's a situation like this where the house is getting sold. So I totally understand and, know what that's like. So we just want to try to set something up that's just, reasonable and help out any way we can. So if there's anything that we can do along the way to kind of make that process smoother for you guys, feel free to reach out, just because we do so many properties, we just have a lot of connections as far as movers, and different things like that. So just let us know if there's anything that you need and we can try to help out with, happy to chat and see if there's anything we can do there.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and other than that, just keep us posted. So I'll have Carolina reach out to you to get that scheduled for the 1st or the 2nd, and then we'll get them out and get those photos. And, I always tell people this, most people know, but I always say this just because sometimes people freak out about, photographer. We're not looking at any of your stuff. We can see behind that. So a lot of times people feel the need to oh, I gotta clean up and everything. Don't worry about that. We're just trying to see the, the bones of the house and everything. So, you don't have to worry about making it all spick and span or anything like that. That's, not a big deal at all.
One last thing I need to definitely let y'all know about. I know you're going to have the house inspected, but there's a drain that's underneath of the sink, and I don't know what they did to it at one point, but it's a cast iron drain pipe, and it's in bad shape. I'm just letting you know. They had poured all this stuff in there, this liquid hardener stuff in there.
Yeah.
Before he died, and it's I'm just telling you, man. You guys will see when you have the house inspected.
I gotcha.
Once you get down to the nitty gritties of it all, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. No, I appreciate you letting me know. I remember when I was living with my parents, God, years and years ago, the main drain pipe went. It was a split level, and so it went behind my bedroom closet wall, and that it was cast iron, and that thing failed. It cracked. And there was just my whole closet was just devastated. We had to rip the whole thing. I mean, yeah. So I know exactly what that is.
It's beyond cracked. They have it jigged in there, so they got this piping smashed into the other piping. You'll see.
Got it. Okay.
Yes. But
all right.
I'm sure you guys ought to do all that when you have the final inspection of the house before you purchase it. But you'll see what we've been dealing with and living. Because we've been saying about this stuff for years. So I mean, to have it fixed, to be inhabitable.
Yeah.
But, I really appreciate it. We'll keep you. We'll let you know as we go on what time, and that's going to be the best time for those days as she calls. Okay.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, I really appreciate you taking the call, and I'll have Carolina reach out to you to get the photographer scheduled and everything, and we'll get everything all squared away from there. But I appreciate you, and hope you're doing better, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, brother. See ya.
Hello.
Hey, it's Chris. How are you?
We signed the paperwork, and there was a lien for $81,000 against the house.
We got an email from the title company. She didn't really go into it in the email. And then we reached out to the title company, and she kind of cleared up what was going on. So it looks like there's a judgment from a court case. It looks like from 2017.
That's right. Well, they hired a bunch of high-dollar attorneys out of Miami.
Who's they?
The one that's holding the note on the motorhome that was turned in.
I didn't have any details, but she was mentioning something about like a motorhome issue or, trying to, I don't know, sell it or give it back or something something, I wasn't exactly clear on the whole situation, but, from what she was saying, it didn't sound like there was any liens or anything against the property. It was like, she was saying it was like a garnishment against her like bank account or something like that.
That's all that we knew about. They had the motorhome. They paid on it for years. Her husband got sick. She had to quit work and take care of him. She told the people that had the note on the motorhome she couldn't make the payments anymore, and she made a voluntary surrender of the trailer, or they call it repossession. They come and take it and took it to auction. They wouldn't let sell it. The trailer was just like a brand new trailer, worth over $100,000. They took it to auction and sold it for $26,000. She left her with a balance of what, 35? I think the original balance was 40-something thousand. They never said a word. They said, well, we're going to put a lien against your home. I said, okay, that's fine. They never did a thing. 6 months after he died, which was in October, a little over 2 years ago, then they come after for the balance, and then they'd already added 7 years of interest and fines and fees. And she got a call, and they're supposed to call her tomorrow. If they take a settlement of $50,000, at least they'd give her $30,000, $31,000 more to go with the 12. Right now, she's only going to get $12,000, and she can't even pay her insurance. More than 2 years of that, and no income. It's screwed from everything.
Jeez, yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. Let me just read through the letter just so I can kind of catch up to exactly where it is. So it looks like final judgment occurred on February 5th of 2019. So that's what, 4 years ago? It looks like the judgment that was entered in the sum of $63,000, currently accruing interest. So it says the total payoff is $81,732. Wow, okay.
That's a lot of interest and penalties, isn't it?
I know, that's freaking crazy, man. That's, it's like the old saying, there's only two things in life that are certain: death and taxes. They need to add judgments to that and interest, Well, I think, I'm happy to try to help out with those conversations with them and see if there's anything that, we can work out with them to try to get them to reduce that number or anything, or take some sort of settlement. Obviously, I always hate to see these types of situations. It's not fruitful for anybody, but, it kind of like at this point, she can certainly try to contest it and do what she's going to do. And I would say, if we can get in contact with the attorneys and we can get them to be agreeable to some sort of reduced settlement amount, I think that would be best for everybody. Whatever the outcome is, whether they give a reduced amount or they don't give a reduced amount, let's table that. If it doesn't get paid, it's obviously just going to continue to rack up interest, and it will start to affect other assets if it exceeds the value of the current asset, right? So outside of a negotiation with the attorneys pursuant to that judgment, it's certainly not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. Have you guys looked into litigating that to fight it and try to get any type of reduction in that through litigation, or not yet?
No, she was going to call them. She called and left word, right?
Yeah.
They're supposed to call her tomorrow.
Keep me posted on what happens. Is it okay if I share some advice when you guys have this conversation with them?
Sure.
Unfortunately, the situation as it is, right, is that, the judgment was made. So anytime there's a court ordered judgment, you're really kind of between a rock and a hard place. So because there's not a lot of leverage, it's going to be hard to take a firm stance with them. So really the best advice I can give is just go with, very humbly, with a contrite heart, just being, super like pleading, almost in a way like, hey, here's the circumstances. Here's what happened. Here's where we're at financially. Here's how this leaves us. It's in a really terrible state. And just really basically, you're almost pleading for mercy in a sense. You basically have to appeal to the people's, hearts at that point over there, because there's no incentive. There's no reason for them to have to give any type of concession. But I will say what I've seen in the past is some people I've talked to and seen go through similar things like this, and they take a very upset and disgruntled approach. Of course, you're upset and disgruntled, right? As I would be, as anybody would be, right? But when you engage in the conversation with that approach, it's only met with opposition, right? And it's like you guys are on opposite sides of the table. It's almost like a divorce hearing, right? You've got two attorneys on opposite sides of the table and everybody's just screaming at each other, as opposed to like when you're taking your child and you're teaching them mathematics, right? You're going to come alongside them, and it's a more gentle, collaborative approach. If there's any advice I can give, it's just try as much as possible to just, be gentle in the conversation and, do what you guys can, and just basically plead for mercy to try to get any type of concession you can.
Well, I fly on their sympathy and hope that any dollar that they give us would be a dollar more than she's going to end up with only $12,000 after this is over if they don't. That's sad. 78 years old, and they're breaking it off and they're behind. And her husband's the one that forced her to sign it because his credit wasn't worth crap.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that.
They're going to appeal with them tomorrow, and if we can't do anything with them, we've got no choice but to have that lady come back out and sign the paperwork. $12,000.
I know it's hard to see the silver lining, but I can tell you just like from firsthand experience, we've talked to, fortunately you guys are where you're at right now, where there is actually any money left on the table. I can't tell you how many times I've been in conversations working with, as a matter of fact, we're working with a seller right now where we're trying to help him sell his property. He's in foreclosure. We got to him the day before his house was supposed to be auctioned, and we were able to stop the auction and push it out about 45 days. But it's like so bad. He kind of got raked through the coals with this like government program where they were supposed to take over and like reimburse some of the payments. But then at the last second, he didn't qualify, and he had like 2 or 3 years of not making payments. So he's like so far buried in the past due amount. And, now, he's basically going to walk away with nothing, just, getting out from under the house. It's just not going to be a foreclosure on his record, but he's literally walking away with nothing. And he's got like a 10-year-old son, he's a single father, so it's a really tough situation. But, his alternative to us helping him and getting this like done was just getting foreclosed on. And then that was going to be like a long problem of, not being able to rent a place, not being able to buy a place. There's just like a lot of other compound effects there. So you guys are at least, out of everybody that we talk to, you're at least in a position where you have some money that is coming at the end of it. I know it's not what you were expecting, but it certainly could be a lot worse. I've seen a lot worse. I'll be praying for you guys that everything goes smooth with the conversation with the attorneys tomorrow. And then keep me posted. And, if there's anything I can do to help out, get on a call with the attorneys and, see if I can work anything out and get them to offer anything. I certainly have no problem doing that. Okay.
All right. We'll talk to them, and then I'll let you know. Get back with you, and maybe you can call them.
Just make sure to get like their contact info so that way you can share it with me, and then I can reach out on your behalf as well. I don't know that they'll do anything for me, but hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I have no problem getting on the phone with them. And if they tell me, hey, go pound sand, okay, it is what it is, but I'll at least take a shot at it for you guys. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
No
Chris.
worries. Yep, you're welcome. I appreciate you guys, and try to get some good sleep tonight. Try not to stress too much about it. I know it's hard, but it's not going to do anybody any good.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for calling Lazarus Property Group. This is Chris. How can I help you?
Yeah, Chris, it's Jay.
Hey, Jay. How are you?
Well, to let you know, we closed at 2:00 yesterday.
Oh.
The money's in the bank. The house is yours.
Congratulations. Well, I'm glad to hear everything went smoothly. I was actually going to reach out to you and just kind of see how that all went and everything. So you guys got everything that, pursuant to the judgment adjustment and everything?
They got checked for 53 something, and they weren't going to release the garnishment on her 34 plus at Bank of America until they received a check from y'all. So I'm going to call the lawyer this afternoon. I'm sure that's already been taken care of. But
okay.
Other than that, everything went smoothly. She ended up with 41.2.
Oh, awesome.
So that was a lot better than 12.8.
Yeah, that's a much better situation.
Taxes have been paid our 2 months. The rest of it's up to you. And it's ready whenever you want to start.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, I really appreciate it. So while I have you on the phone, Jay, I just wanted to ask, like, as far as like your experience working with our company, you know, and REI Made Easy and, you know, my team and everybody, I mean, how did you feel like that experience went for you guys?
After I got over the initial shock, I thought you were writing me a tentative contract, and I'd already called another company. They offered me $112,500, but I got to figuring out what all's got to be done over there. And if you paid $5,000 on my end and you pay another $5,000 on the other end, that's $10,000, and $20,000 repairs $30,000, and you gave me $95,000. That's $125,000. You sell it for $150,000. $156,000 is the average. You're only going to make about $25,000. So that's well within my range. But
yeah,
at $112,000, they'd have been lucky to break even.
Yeah,
because it's got to have a complete septic system and drain field.
Yep.
The toilet won't even flush. It's got to have a new roof, and it's got the outside air conditioner part looks like brand new, but the inside part leaks, so that's going to have to be replaced. I figured at least that, and then upgrading the bathroom and the kitchen. And I don't know if they tore all the carpet out, but there was carpet in both bedrooms, and the living room will probably needs to be replaced. So I'm thinking another $5,000 inside. So
got it.
You should clear $20,000.
Yeah, so it sounds like from what I'm hearing, you know, when it's all said and done, you feel like our offer was a pretty fair offer, you would say.
I didn't think it was at first, but like I said, I flipped houses for 19 years, so
yeah.
I knew what I was talking about. And there's a big, I think it's a double, one of those carport things out in the backyard where they park, and then there's a big, looks like about a 10 by 12 metal shed that's in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we got that, I guess it's a 40 foot, one of the boxes they carry on semis.
Yeah,
So
like a container?
Container. It's been out there for years. In fact, I helped build a wood storage bin on the back of it. But her son's supposed to come in a couple of days and see if there's any of the antiques in there that's worth keeping. If not, well, you can pull it out and get rid of it, or leave it there, or do whatever you want with it.
All right, awesome. And as far as like, you know, how we were able to just kind of like help and give you guys advice as far as like working with the attorneys, you know, for the judgment and everything, do you feel like you were given like, you know, good solid advice to help facilitate that?
When I saw that first thing, when the lady come over here and I saw it was 81, they wanted 81.2, I believe it was. I said, let's make an appeal to the attorneys, and if they'll accept it, even if they come up above, I said, well, offer them 50, and if they won't take that, maybe they'll take 60, because every penny you get is a penny more that's going to go into your account.
Yeah.
And so she offered him 50, and he got with the owners of the note, and they accepted it. Of course, they took another $3,400 garnishment. They're already home, but they added it to the closing. So as soon as they got their check, they're supposed to release the garnishment, put the $3,400 back in the Bank of America.
Okay.
Just to be on the safe side, I opened an account at ViStar Credit Union, which is my credit union, and
nice.
That's where the money went.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. Now, like, let me ask you this. I mean, you know, if you were talking to somebody else, like another person who was kind of in a similar situation, you know, with a property, and they were looking to sell their property, would you recommend us?
Yeah, I'd recommend you, or I'm satisfied.
Well, you know, overall, Jay, it's been a pleasure working with you guys. You know, I'm glad everything worked out.
Your work crews, when they come, if they need any information or anything, I live right across the street.
Okay.
I'm glad to give them advice. That's about all I can do now.
Awesome. Well, glad it all worked out. You know, would you mind, like, if we ever have a seller who is just kind of on the fence and not sure whether or not they should move forward with us, and, you know, they just want a reference? Okay, awesome.
All right, buddy.
All right. See ya. All right, my friends. So if you've been following this whole series from start to finish, we just closed and funded on that deal in Jacksonville. And that is how you take a seller from ticked off to testimonial. So stay tuned for the next one. Click the link right here to go into the next series and watch more seller calls like this and how we handle disgruntled sellers and take them from disgruntled to being super happy and willing to give a reference if we send somebody their way to hop on a phone call and discuss with them whether they should do business with our team or not. Appreciate you guys. Peace.